For me personally, having a great desk setup is so important from a productivity, but also a creativity standpoint. As a self-employed photographer and videographer, I spend a whole bunch of time at my desk, so I thought I would share 10 of my favorite ways to bring your desk setup to the next level. Number one, I have covered this on the channel before, but I do obviously want to cover it in general, is having a big, kind of generous desk space. And for me, this is an IKEA tabletop. This is actually a walnut IKEA tabletop. This is not a new or original kind of desk setup, but I use this in combination with a couple of drawers. We will talk about the drawers later. Having a big, wide, generous space for your desk tabletop is, in my opinion, essential for creativity. I don't think this necessarily helps the productivity aspect. I think it could be super productive on a smaller desk space. But for me personally, having lots of kind of empty negative space on the desk, having almost like that breathing room, is a fantastic way to feel creative every single day. And speaking of that space, if you've got a desk where maybe the sole purpose of that desk is not to have, a keyboard, a mouse on. For instance, this tabletop is not the absolute best material for moving a mouse on. So I use a desk pad. This is a desk pad by a company called Groovemade. I've never owned Groovemade products before because they can be rather expensive, but they basically are the best of the best. What I will do is, because I don't want to price anyone out, is I will link suggestions for a cheaper alternative as well as the kind of Groovemade product that I'm referencing. So check that out in the description if you're interested. So this particular desk pad is their felt version, and it is just the perfect size. You can see that it fits my mouse and my keyboard fantastically without taking too much real estate on the desk. And again, that decreases the amount of clutter on the desk and allows me to feel just a bit more creative when using it. On this desk pad is something which I didn't think would make a ginormous difference to my workflow and my feel, but I'm a Mac user, so I use the Apple Magic Keyboard. I personally love chiclet style keyboards. I know lots of people swear by mechanical keyboards. Personally, I've never actually got on with mechanical keyboards, and I use the Apple Magic Keyboard. The only complaint that I do have about this is it's not fantastic ergonomically in terms of it's just a little bit flat, and something I didn't realize I kind of needed in my life was this keyboard tray. And again, this is another Groovemade product, but it is probably my favorite product that is on all of this list for the very reason that it just improves your ergonomics enormously, specifically for the Apple Magic Keyboard. Because I'm using this kind of walnut style tabletop from IKEA, the walnut of this product fit beautifully into the kind of style and aesthetic for the setup. You can see the whole thing is precisely machined and engineered. The keyboard just slots right in, and then you've still got obviously the open back ports for stuff like that. This is a really, really nice upgrade. Obviously, not an essential one, but if you are struggling a little bit with the ergonomics of your Apple Magic Keyboard, you can definitely check this out. Okay, let's talk about some storage now. Let's talk about these drawers. On my previous desk setups, I've never had drawers kind of built into the setup itself, and I do think this kind of system that I've gone for, using the IKEA tabletop and the two sets of IKEA drawers to actually hold up the desk. Obviously, you lose the fact that previously I had a standing desk, which I've made a video about on the channel. Personally, it's worth it for me in terms of the trade-off of the storage, because I'm not in a ginormous flat at the moment, so having that additional storage inside the desk itself just allows for, it's just a fantastic addition. It allows me to store lots and lots of stuff. You can see how much I'm able to get in all of these drawers, and I've obviously got that times 2. If you are struggling with storage in your particular space, I definitely thoroughly recommend this sort of style of setup, because it's just a very, very efficient way to store a whole bunch of stuff, and it's out of sight, out of mind, and it does look fantastic. If you guys take anything away from this video to either improve your current desk setup or build a new one, it would be the idea to get a monitor arm. And by this, what I mean is a freestanding monitor arm that connects to your desk instead of the stand that normally kind of exists underneath your monitor. This, for me anyway, is the single best way to improve the look and feel of your setup without spending a whole bunch of money. You can normally pick up one of these for around £50, $50, that sort of price range. It's a way to obviously elevate that desk monitor. These are normally adjustable and they just look fantastic, whilst most significantly, freeing up a ton of space underneath the monitor, where normally obviously a stand would be, which obviously adds clutter clutter, and of course, actually just takes up significant desk real estate. I'm not sure on the particular model that I'm actually using. I think it was about $50, but it's worked fantastically. You can adjust it, and most importantly, feels insanely secure for your monitor. And speaking of security, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, NordPass.
So if NordPass sounds familiar, it's because it's made by the same company who make NordVPN, the insanely popular and very, very good VPN service. So being built by that company, NordPass is obviously fantastic quality, but this one is a password manager.
Now, it may sound ridiculous, but I don't know any of the passwords that I use for my web services. I actually generate them and manage them exclusively through a password manager like NordPass. If you are using the same password on multiple websites, it leaves you extremely vulnerable to hacks and attacks. Obviously, if that one website was to get compromised, hackers would have had access to every single website that you've used that password for. So here I am inside the app. Unfortunately, I can't show you my actual account for obvious reasons, but this is like a new account, so I can actually demo it. But you can see that this is the desktop Mac app. They also have mobile apps, of course. And you can see that this is where you would store all of your individual data, your passwords, your pass keys. You can store payment information, personal information, and obviously this is accessible via a browser extension as well as a mobile app, and all will be synced in real time. One of my favorite tools is a tool called Data Breach Scanner, which basically scans the internet to see whether any of your passwords have been compromised, and it will flag that and suggest that you change them. It really is a brilliant tool.
If you like what you hear, you can check out the first link in the description. The current offer for NordPass is 2 years at 50% off at plus 1 month for free, so absolutely crazy deal. But you can get access to the latest deal always by clicking the top link in the description and using my code. Thanks again to NordPass for supporting the channel.
So it's not necessarily an essential upgrade, but I absolutely love having a decent set of speakers or monitors on my desk at all times. I went with this Edifier set. I'll have the specific model linked down below because they're relatively affordable. I think they're only around the $100 mark, and they sound fantastic. Most importantly, they also fit really, really well with the kind of like the walnut kind of vibe of the desk setup that I've gone for. I think they have a really nice premium feel with the grey, but also the wood matches the aesthetic. Like the sound is also brilliant. I'm not a particular audiophile snob, but they do sound brilliant, and they're really, really nice when I'm not editing with a pair of headphones on. And speaking of headphones, my current choice at the moment is these. They're the Sony, I believe the XM4s. Don't quote me on that model number, but again, those will be linked down below. They're not the newest model. They're the slightly cheaper, but also fantastic previous generation model, and they are sitting on another GrooveMate product. They are sitting on a beautiful, like this, I think really out of all of the GrooveMate products that I'm showing in this video, this one is by far and away the most beautiful. It is definitely not essential. Again, this is almost like a way to elevate the desk setup if you have a bit of spare budget that you're wanting to use. You can see the handcrafted kind of main piece of walnut wood in the middle. The sides are leather. Like, it's absolutely beautiful piece of gear. But of course, this is just a headphone stand, and you can use a slightly more cheaper option if you have that available to you. But if you're wanting the absolute best of the best, this headphone stand is kind of one thoroughly recommended from GrooveMate. To finish up, I've got a couple of desk setup hacks that are going to immediately improve things without basically spending any money at all, or like an absolutely tiny little bit of money. But first of all is these cable buddies. These are like kind of a simple adhesive stickers that you can like have on your desk setup. For instance, I use these for the MagSafe charger so that I can just, plonk one directly next to my MagSafe, and I don't have to worry about the cable falling down every single time. These, again, are not original. This isn't a genius idea or anything. Next would be for cable management. It's just very simple zip ties. Like, these are really essential and fantastically useful and unbelievably cheap. You can literally, for like $5, pick up about 100. Enables you to just bundle your cables together, nice and easy, and then it's just far, far less messy. Like, I've got a very simple cable management setup, but it already feels kind of relatively organized, even though I've put not much thought into it, and that's simply by zip tying a lot of the cables together. And then finally, this is a value added, is a few plants. You can see a couple behind me right now. I've got this kind of big one here, and I've got one up this ladder over here. I'm very lucky. My girlfriend really likes plants, so I'm kind of able to like not really do anything, and she kind of takes a lot of care and attention over them, which is really nice. But I do think it's a fantastic way to just kind of improve the feel and kind of ambience of your desk setup, obviously your room and your space, but it kind of just feels a little bit more fresh than without them. So yeah, thoroughly recommend getting a few plants for your setup if you can. So guys, those are my upgrades. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.